I am David. You're watching DualShockers TV on DualShockers.com. I'm here with Dmitry Glukhovsky, the author of the Metro series and also of Metro Last Light, the brand new game. Tell us a little about the story.
So the story is unfolding in the catacombs, tunnels and stations of the subway of Moscow, 20 years after the nuclear apocalypse that devastated the Earth, allegedly World War III. So 20 years later, the humanity is still hiding underground because the surface of the Earth is not suitable for man to live. It's contaminated with radiation and plagued with monsters. So the only place where people still survive, or they think that it's the only place, it's the metro system of Moscow, which is the world's biggest nuclear shelter. And that's true.
What was the biggest influence on this story?
Well, I can't really say. As a teenager, I played some Fallout, and that could be quoted among the influences. Then, of course, sci-fi, Russian sci-fi, such as the Strugatsky brothers, best known for the Roadside Picnic. Then might be some works by Ray Bradbury or Clifford Simak, if we quote the American book authors. And then just a little bit of everything, you know. Then the biggest influence of all was the subway of Moscow itself. Because I used to take daily rides of 1 hour to go from my home to my school as a teenager, and from my home to my school and school home, well, 2 hours a day. All in all, several months, if you multiply that by the years I spent in school. It was quite a long time. So one day I just learned that the subway of Moscow was engineered, planned and constructed as the biggest nuclear air raid shelter in the world. And that's true. Every station is equipped by the hermetic airlocks, and every station can actually be turned into a separate bunker in case of a nuclear war. When I just realized that, I decided that's a story already. And if a nuclear war happens, we have seen so many times what it was supposed to look like in the States. Like all these nuclear wastelands and all these abandoned skyscrapers in New York. But never before we were shown the other side of the conflict. And the conflict is supposed to have like at least two sides. So I decided to create a fresh look on the post-apocalyptic story from the other side of the ocean.
Who's the protagonist?
Protagonist is in the first story. Well, I first wrote the book named Metro 2033, and then there was a video game based on it, with the same name. Back then, the protagonist was a young, naive boy named Artyom, who was 24 years old. He was born before the fire, before the nuclear war broke out. And he's actually being raised on an outskirts station. And the subway of Moscow, in this story, in this novel, and this game, is not one single structure. It is actually different factions, stations, city-states, different religions, different ideologies. It's a little model of the entire world. People are often asking, why do you find Nazis in the post-nuclear Moscow? Like, WTF. My explanation is that I try to reduce the entire world, Europe and the world globally, to the scale of the subway of Moscow, to show how after World War III we will still remain the same, how the humanity will not change. So I just took the biggest ideologies of the 20th century, such as communism, such as, well, Nazism, fascism, and the, American-style capitalism, liberal ideology, liberal economy, and democratic system, and put it on different stations. So it was kind of a game, you know, to do. So the main character is born on the surface. He vaguely remembers his life before. He wants the humanity to come back to the surface. He wants the man to become what the man used to be, the master of the earth, not just an exilee. And his struggle is actually to restore the former influence of the mankind. But the men of the Metro are threatened with a new mutant race called the Dark Ones.
What do they represent in terms of the ideologies?
In ideologies, well, actually, I'm playing a lot with xenophobia. Because in Russian they even named blacks, not dark ones, but for obvious reasons they were renamed in the English version. So basically that's a new race, the newcomers, someone who looks very different and who you immediately perceive as an alien and you want to fight with without really getting into details. The one that looks so unlike you, so scaring, that you shoot first and ask questions second. And that's basically was the story of the first game and the first novel. Artyom was compelled to fight them. He thought that his mission was to become a war hero, the Call of Duty style of hero, run and shoot and explode everything. And that's what he did, just to discover in the end that his real mission was to become an interpreter, a translator, the one who could bridge the two worlds, the two races, into two civilizations, the mutants and the man. So only 3% of the gamers, as far as I know, unlocked the alternative ending of the first game. They were completely surprised because they're so much used just to these stupid action games. And Metro, I did not really think of it, even as a game, as an experience. It's not just about like playing and having fun. You're supposed to have fun, of course, but it's a different kind of fun. You're supposed to live a life inside it. And I made sure that there is an entire world out there. It's a very different story from what you usually find in American or even European developed games. Even if the book is quite different. Like all the feedback I'm getting for the novel, people are saying like it's not anything like the post-apocalyptic story that we were used to read, you know. And it's so different that actually no American book publisher wanted to take it. So I ended up, like, the book is a bestseller in Europe, and American publishers do not want it. They say the story is too exotic for American readers. They will not understand it. So I decided to go for self-publishing, and I put it on Amazon and like on the like print-on-demand services. So let's see how that's going to work. After all, I don't think that American readers are so different from the European readers or Russian readers, you know. And it's a good story that they can like appreciate.
It sounds like a very immersive game. I'm very much looking forward to it, and also the story.
Yeah.
Thank you, Dmitry.
Thank you.
You've been watching DualShockers TV.